I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at my website, starborninstitute.org, you'd already know that the title of tonight's show is Confusion Reigns Supreme. And that is because you could be looking at a lot of confusing situations in the next week, because on Friday we are having a full moon at 6 degrees of Aries. And Aries rules new beginnings, so that would be great by itself. However, Aries is a cardinal sign, and there are 4 planets in a harsh T-cross among the cardinal signs under the full moon on Friday in Aries. And so this is a time when confusion can reign supreme for several different reasons. And the main thing is that you are going to have to perhaps try things again and again. Or as you move forward in one direction, you're going to have to sort of back up sometimes and try it perhaps in a different direction just to succeed or to get a new beginning underway. Which, there could be a lot of light on a new beginning right now, because that's what Aries rules. However, we know that under a full moon, the moon opposes the sun. So the full moon on Friday is at 6 degrees of Aries, and that means the sun is at 6 degrees of Libra. And Pluto is in Capricorn, and it is squaring the full moon in Aries, and it's squaring the sun in Libra. But there's more than that going on in Libra, because Mars is in Libra as well, and Mars is the ruler of Aries, but it's opposing the sign it rules. So that can be confusing, and one of the things could be that you want to get something new off the ground, but there could be obstacles or delays in your way, and you sort of have to work through them first. But there's more going on even than the fact that Mars is opposing the sign it rules, and the sun is opposing the full moon. The reason why confusion can reign supreme, particularly by the time of the full moon and then going on into the weekend, is because Mars is at 22 degrees of Libra, and the south node is in Libra at 25 degrees, just as its opposite counterpart, the north node of the moon, which is very lucky, is in Aries at 25 degrees. They're always exactly opposite each other, moving backwards in their signs. But because the unlucky south node of the moon, which always denotes somebody who is cranky or sort of out to get you, or can be quite troublesome in one way or another, maybe jealous and vindictive, something like that. And generally it's a woman, because the nodes of the moon denote women, because the moon rules women. And so the unlucky south node of the moon is at 25 degrees, and as Mars comes up to conjunct it, it's at 22 degrees now, so it'll move up and it will exactly conjunct that unlucky south node of the moon 2 or 3 days after the full moon, so it'll be over the weekend. And all of that is opposing this full moon in Aries, and also these planets in Libra are squaring Pluto in Capricorn. And Mars and Pluto are the rulers of Scorpio, and so there can be an unfortunate financial matter that is connected in one way or another to somebody who is very troublesome or wants to make trouble for you, or it can be that a new partnership, because remember this is happening in the sign of Libra, and Libra rules partnership, a new partnership can be undermined by somebody who is very set on destroying it, and they can be very authoritative or aggressive or argumentative and quarrelsome. And that can throw a little monkey wrench or a little bit of confusion in a new partnership that has a good possibility of getting off the ground, but it might run into a little trouble before that happens. And also there wouldn't be enough money around for somebody, And that's because Mars and Pluto are squaring each other. And so these 4 planets that are opposing and squaring each other can be one of the reasons why confusion reigns supreme in the next week, during the weekend, and during next week as well. So you sort of have to watch where you walk, or watch who you talk to, and make sure somebody's in a good mood before you talk to them, because they may not be. And you don't want to have a new partnership threatened by people that are sort of out to get somebody right now. So you could be a little bit confused about how to move forward. Another reason why confusion can reign supreme now is because there are 3 planets that are all squaring each other in the fixed signs. And that is because Venus is in Leo, it's direct, and it's at 23 degrees. But it is unfortunately exactly squaring Uranus, a malefic planet that rules sudden surprising change and volatility, also at 23 degrees. And Venus is squaring Jupiter in Taurus as well. Well, Taurus is a fixed financial sign ruling your investments. And so there is the possibility, and Leo rules extravagance, so there is the possibility that confusion can reign supreme simply because there can be a change in the money. And it can be that costs are too high right now, and that could derail a purchase that you're planning on making. Or it can be that taxes are high. Or it can be that the income from an investment is diminishing because the value of the investment is going down right now. So that could lower the income from it. And so that could create a lot of confusion too, either because of high costs or diminished income in one way or another. So you have to watch out for that too. I mean, everybody has a budget, so your budget could be subject to even to conditions that are beyond your control right now, but you'll have to deal with it even if it appears to be confusing. And then a third reason is that there is a grand trine in the earth signs, and that's wonderful because that simply means that people can want, particularly people who are good hard workers, they can be wanting to sort of get in and do their job and get paid well, and that's how life goes on. But Mercury is now direct, and it is in Virgo. So that's very good because it rules the sign. So there's a lot of clear thinking going on, and analytical thinking, and good problem solving going on. And it is trining Pluto, which is retrograde in Capricorn, indicating there can be possible changes at the top in upper management of large corporations, government agencies, or institutions. But these planets are trining each other, and then they are trining in turn Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus, which are retrograde. So Mercury is the only direct planet, and Jupiter and Uranus are retrograde, Pluto is retrograde, but they're still all in a grand trine. However, this is where the confusion comes in, because that Mercury in Virgo is being sorely opposed and challenged by Neptune in Pisces. Remember, Mercury rules Virgo, but Neptune rules Pisces, so they're very strong. And then Saturn is also in Pisces, opposing that Mercury, and both of the Pisces planets are retrograde. And Pisces rules things that are hidden behind the scenes. And so there is the possibility that you can be confused about how someone is presenting themselves, or you can be confused at the difference between what somebody is saying and what they've been doing behind the scenes. And so with this wonderful Mercury now direct in Virgo, it simply means that the clear thinking, particularly the Virgos are noted for, but anybody who wants to get down to the bottom and get an answer for something could do that right now, because this Mercury is part of a grand trine. The clear thinking that's going on right now could help to reveal something that had been hidden behind the scenes, like somebody who was an imposter, or a fake, or a phony, or somebody who was not the way they presented themselves to others. You know, in other words, in front of the world, they have one persona, and behind the world, they could be doing something completely different. And you could get a clear answer about that now, but it could be very confusing between what really does add up and the image that is being portrayed by somebody now, the false image. And so that too can lead to confusion. So I think this week, miracles are going to be in short supply. And when you run up against a roadblock or a delay, I urge you to have a lot of patience and be sure and maintain your self-control. That is really important because Mars is coming up to a conjunction of that south node of the moon, the unlucky south node of the moon, and it's opposing this full moon in Aries. And so if you overreacted to something or you got mad, even if you were justified, I mean, you might be right about something, but you have to maintain your self-control now. Don't lose it. Because if you lose your self-control, somebody else could too. And that could create real problems for you. So that's why you need to maintain a lot of patience and realize that, not going to be a lot of miracles around this week, but still, if you maintain your self-control, you can get through a very confusing time. And so confusion can reign supreme at many different levels. And what you've got to do is keep your head on and try to be patient. And this is going to be a week when you can take 2 steps forward and just as many backward. And that's the way it's going to be. Or you can be around other people doing that. So, try to keep it simple this week. I think you'll be happier if you can do that. So good luck. Okay, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Aries. Well, Aries, the full moon is in your sun sign. That means there's a lot of light on you, Aries. And I think this is a time when I hope that you are going to shine at your best, because Venus in Leo is still trining your sun. It's at 23 degrees now. It's getting ready to leave the sign, but still it's trining your sun. And since it's in the last decan of Leo, that is sub-ruled by Mars. And Mars is your ruler, Aries. So you could come into contact with somebody who likes you and is very energetic and sort of wants you to get the ball rolling on something. Well, your sign rules new beginnings. You could do that. And yet there are 4 planets in a harsh T-cross in the cardinal signs. So that full moon in your sign, Aries, is being sorely challenged and opposed not only by the sun in Libra, but by Mars, your own ruler. And it is coming up to exactly conjunct the unlucky south node of the moon over the weekend. And these opposing planets, including that bad luck south node, are probably going to give you a reason to pause right now, Aries. And once again, be patient. Try to maintain your self-control. That will be especially hard for you this weekend, and perhaps even next week. And so, you're really going to have to work at it, Aries. Luckily, you do have Venus trining your sun. So I think if you run into a confusing situation, which I think that's going to happen, Aries, what I would say is if somebody that is sort of bent on creating trouble for you comes your way, I would duck out of there if I were you, Aries. Invent an excuse and don't participate in anything with them, because they could be on the warpath, and that would not be good for you. And so, you need to stick a little bit more closely to people like you and who want to be of help to you in one way or another. If they happen to be out of town or you can't reach them right now, then you need to sort of withdraw if you can, because there could be a financial situation that can also be sort of confusing for you right now, because that Mars is squaring Pluto. They're the rulers of Scorpio, so you could have a problem with credit, debt, taxes, loans, insurance proceeds or payments, mortgages, even an inheritance or grants, something like that. And yet at the same time, you may want to start something new, but somebody could make a power play on you. That is Pluto squaring your sun. And so, and the full moon. So if a change occurs in the next week for you, Aries, which it might, you would have to try to be very low-key about it and not overreact, and seek the good advice only of trusted friends and nobody else. Just try to avoid people that you have a suspicion are troublesome, because they would be, And so I guess what I'm saying, Aries, is don't ask for trouble, because you could really get it this week. And instead, if you're in a confusing situation, step back. And Aries are always in a big hurry. But this is a week when it would pay you to slow down, Aries, so I hope you do. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Taurus. Well, Taurus, there is a little problem with money right now, and it might be out of your control. And the reason why it might be out of your control is because you have Jupiter, which is a very good planet in your sign, and Uranus in your sign. They're part of a grand trine in Earth signs. Mercury and Virgo are trining them, and so is Pluto in Capricorn. So you have backup around you. Or I would say, Taurus, you have some money in reserve. Or you have it in investments, or you have it in the bank, or you have it in maybe a real estate investment that you've had for a while, so you've built up equity in it. That would be good too. Because Venus in Leo is squaring the planets in your sign, Taurus. And so Venus is squaring Jupiter. That's not too good, because they're the best planets in the heavens, but they're not getting along right now. And also Uranus is exactly squaring Venus in Leo. And that means that if you have overindulged in any way, Taurus, such as taking a gamble on something, you would be in a losing position right now. Or if you have counted on having a certain amount of investment income come in, and the value of the investment drops, so does your income, then that could actually delay some sort of purchase that you want to make right now. And so I would live with the delay, Taurus, and just keep working hard, and try to improve your health, and realize that you might be able to wait out a very confusing time right now, if you can. And I would give that a big try, Taurus, because even though Taurus is known for sort of brute strength and fierce determination and never giving up, because yours is a fixed sign, this is a time when it doesn't really pay for you to stress your point too much. And the reason why is that you could lose friends. And that's because Venus is squaring Jupiter and Uranus. And Venus is a very nice planet, but it's not getting along with the planets in your sign right now. So in a way, Taurus, you should just keep working on things that you're interested in. And since that full moon in Aries is right behind your sun sign, there is the possibility of an unpleasant situation happening that could threaten a partnership that you're thinking about behind the scenes. And that's because the south node of the moon in Libra, along with Mars, Aries' own ruler, is sort of attacking that full moon this weekend. And that's right behind your sun sign. So confusion reigns supreme. We're all going to run into situations that we're thinking, how did this happen? Well, just don't overreact. And I think that you're probably in a position where you could wait something out right now. And I'm thinking that would be the best idea. If your income is dropping a little bit from your investments, you have backup somewhere else. You can wait it out. If somebody is perhaps involved in some sort of vicious attack and you know about it behind the scenes, I would not comment. If I were you, Taurus, stay out of it. Because, and if you are suspecting that some people are not exactly your friends right now, you would be right about that, because they could be making plans or saying things behind your back that could actually thwart some sort of new beginning. And that's why you need to step back and just wait something out this weekend. Or not just this weekend, the whole week. because we're all going to be involved with confusion that is reigning supreme. We're all going to have to take, one or two steps forward and just as many backward. And that's the way it's just going to go. So be cautious if you can. And I think that you're still in a position where you can wait out a situation that is not to your liking, and try not to comment about it in any way. Just go about your business, Taurus, and that will be best for you, actually. Just do what you're good at. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Gemini. Well, Gemini, the sun is in Libra, and so is Mars, and so is the unlucky south node of the moon, and Mars is going to conjunct it this weekend, which isn't too good, because Mars rules war, and it rules malicious people, and it can rule people that are very argumentative or aggressive or quarrelsome, particularly a woman. Okay, somebody like that could be around you, Gemini. Or they could be looking for you, Gemini. However, these planets trine your sun. And so I think you're going to be able to sort of duck or get out of their way of somebody that may want to harm. They could want to harm anybody, but they could particularly want to harm anybody that was thinking of forming a new partnership or starting something new. And if that's what you're thinking about, Gemini, I'd be real quiet about what your future plans are right now. Keep them to yourself. This is not a time when people can really trust strangers or even acquaintances that they have. If somebody isn't your best friend, I would not divulge any additional information about what your plans are, Gemini. Keep them to yourself. And the reason why is because there are still 3 planets in the mutable signs. Mercury in Virgo is opposing Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, and all 3 of these planets, which still indicate people with irreconcilable differences, but I would say that this week they indicate more the clear thinking or clear answers that people can get, or solutions that people can come up with, that reveal a cover-up behind the scenes or sort of clear up a confusing situation, but still it means that somebody's clever disguise could be exposed, or an imposter could be exposed. Well, these 3 planets square your sun, Gemini. And Mars, which is sort of up to no good in the coming week, because it's conjuncting the south node of the moon, is trining your sun. So, just like everyone else, you're going to have to sidestep people that you feel that you cannot trust, and so that might mean that you have to take a couple of steps back, and yet at the same time, you may want to go forward right now a little bit more on your own. And I think that you could do it, but you'd have to be satisfied with doing it alone, Gemini. And you might be safer that way. Just do what you think is the right thing to do, but I would say keep it quiet. And you don't need to share your plans with anybody right now. I would say that with confusion reigning supreme, what's the point? Some people would get your ideas and some people just would not get them. So don't talk to anybody right now, Gemini. Even though your sign rules communication, I'd be real careful who you communicated with this week. Just for your own peace of mind, I would be a little bit quiet. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Cancer. Cancer, this is a time, since yours is a cardinal sign, when you will be affected, perhaps adversely, by the full moon on Friday that is occurring at 6 degrees of Aries. Because Aries squares your sun, Cancer, and the sun and Mars and the unlucky south node of the moon in Libra also square your sun, and Pluto in Capricorn is opposing your sun. That's a lot of planets that are challenging your sign this week, Cancer. And so, that's why we have to be extra patient, and we have to maintain our self-control. You could be threatened by people who are coming at you in sort of a mean, aggressive way. Or you could be threatened by power changes at the top that caught you by surprise. Or you could be threatened by somebody that just wants to go off and do their own thing in a brand new way. And they can just say, well, hey, I'm leaving. And so Cancer, you need to develop a little bit of a protective shell around you this week, because the 4 planets in cardinal signs are all squaring and opposing your sun sign. So in a way, Cancer, you got to look out for trouble this week, because it's looking for you. And of course, you have to duck if you see anything troubling coming your way. And for sure, there could be the possibility of a jealous or vindictive woman that wants to thwart or curtail the prospect of a new partnership, maybe that you want to make, or a dream that you want to make come true. Remember, Saturn and Neptune are still trining your sun. If you wanted to very quietly work on making a future dream come true, you could do it right now. And you could do it very quietly behind the scenes. And I would if I were you, Cancer. I would be sort of low profile about what your future plans are right now. And, keep them to yourself. Or if you're wanting to make a dream come true, then you could do that with whomever you are anticipating making that dream with. But I wouldn't tell anybody else. Because the aspects are too harsh to your sun sign this week. And so you really need to stay out of things, Cancer. I mean, if you see people that are sort of fighting with each other, oh, you got to walk the other way, Cancer. Exit as soon as you can. You don't need people who are upset or angry or volatile or vicious or aggressive. You just don't need it. And if there are some big changes at the top, I would not comment on those. Just be as quiet as you can. And that way your main objective this week should be to avoid trouble. And to quietly behind the scenes keep working on that precious dream of yours. Because it's aspected for success. In fact, it's destined for success. But it involves your future, Cancer. And because it does involve your future, and I think someone else in your future, I think that you need to keep that to yourself this week, because I don't think you can trust everybody this week. You can trust the dream, but not a whole lot of other people around you. So just move forward right now on something that would make you happy, Cancer. But if I were you, I'd quietly work on that. And particularly if it involves someone else in your future, try to stick with them, because they involve the promise of a happier life for you. And you could see how very unhappy some situations are around you in this next week. And I think you shouldn't stick around for that. You should say enough is enough and decide to go for the dream instead. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is a time when you could be a little bit disappointed that the money's not there. And now, there could be money there, Leo. I'm not saying you're broke or anything. What I am saying is that the money that you were anticipating is not quite there, or it's not quite all there. And that is because there could be a confusing situation around, or maybe you were taking something for granted that didn't get done, or got done a little differently than the way you wanted it to be done, and so it didn't work out the way you wanted it to. You could be finding that out right now, Leo, because Venus in your sign is being exactly squared by Uranus in Taurus and also by Jupiter in Taurus. And so it seems as if there's some sort of an investment that is not working out as well for you as you had hoped. And so I think there can be a drop in investment income, or it can be that some other situation in your life is very costly. The cost could be going up, or the interest rates could be going up on something, and that could derail a purchase that you had been wanting to make. It doesn't stop it. It simply means you're going to have to come up with a little bit more money somewhere, Leo, to get what you want. But you can do that if you are able to really do some good problem solving right now. And Mercury is direct in Virgo right ahead of your sun sign, so you can do some good problem solving. But you would have to do it by putting a pencil to something, Leo, and really do the math, really work out what the financial situation is in something that you're involved with. And if it isn't paying off enough, you have to really sort of think about how you can analyze something and get to the real truth about it. And you may have to change an objective of yours. If you have to derail a purchase because it's just way too expensive right now and you weren't counting on that, but it is, okay, maybe you could, do something else or just wait it out. You do have Venus in your sign. It's getting ready to leave. It's at 23 degrees. And so 23 reduces to 5. That's a scattering number. You could have been scattering your forces all over, Leo. Leos like to have their fingers in a lot of different places. But remember, this is a time for all of us when you have to maintain your patience and you cannot afford to lose your self-control. And so just remember that, Leo, that danger lurks if you sort of go off the deep end on anything right now or overreact. I wouldn't do that. Mars is on the march and is heading right into the unlucky south node of the moon, and the sun in Libra do sextile your sun. But that means you could be a person that might be a little bit too close to somebody that's pretty mad right now. And for your own peace of mind, Venus is in your sign and it rules peace. For your own peace of mind, you should step back right now. And don't get involved in anything that seems to be argumentative in any way. Because I don't actually think anybody's going to win an argument right now. In fact, they could, if they even get close to one, it's going to be a disaster. So just step back if you can, Leo, and be tactful and cautious. You could be glad that you were, that's not going to hurt you. It's going to help you. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time, Virgo, when you can really do a lot of clear thinking. And that is because Mercury in your sign at 21 degrees is direct in your sign. Now, it's part of a grad trine in Earth signs, but it's the only direct planet. And so that can enable you to, sort of see the light, Virgo, and, questions or problems that had been sort of cropping up in different ways all around you for quite a while now, even for months, could suddenly be clearing up. You could be thinking about answers that provide a good solution to some problems you've had. You could be surprised, Virgo, at how many answers come to you right now, and they make sense. Or maybe it's that you are better prepared for that right now, to come up with a solution to something. But I think you're going to be successful. The reason why confusion can reign supreme, even for you, Virgo, is because Mercury in your sign is being opposed once again, or the way it has been for a couple of months now, by Neptune and Saturn in Pisces. These two planets are not moving out of Pisces. Saturn is going to retrograde clear back to the 0 degree of Pisces, but it doesn't leave. It'll turn around and go forward again. It's staying in Pisces is what I'm trying to say, and it's going to oppose your sun sign the whole time, and Neptune is there as well, and Neptune's a real slow mover. And yet, you have this fantastic planet, your own ruler, in your sign, being backed up and trined by other planets, 3 other planets, Pluto in Capricorn and Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus, which are all retrograde, but it's still back up. In fact, you might want to go back to a former job or a former plan of yours or some former way of investing that would certainly, perhaps it might represent an opportunity that you had missed before, but maybe you could reconsider it now. Because Virgo, this is a very good time for you not to doubt yourself. Virgos worry about everything, so sometimes they underrate themselves and doubt themselves, but you really shouldn't do that, Virgo. You're on a track toward a happy solution to something that's been bothering you. And just stay on that track, because you'll be successful. You're going to come up with a good solution, Virgo, to something that's been bothering you. And it could involve a plan or an idea that you had before and didn't follow up on, or weren't able to follow up on, and now as time goes on you may be able to do that. You know, everybody has to have a plan before they can make it succeed. You have to have it all mapped out in your head first, and that is what you're going to be real good at right now, Virgo. So have more confidence in yourself is what I'm saying. And I think that you'll feel that you're coming up with good answers right now, or good solutions. Or when you're looking at somebody, you could be, as information comes out about them, which shows how deceptive they've been, you could say, oh, I always knew they were a phony. And you would have been right. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Libra. Well, Libra, you got to be real careful in the next week. And, look before you leap, Libra. And the reason why is that on Friday, the full moon at 6 degrees of Aries is opposing the sun in your sign at 6 degrees. But Mars is there as well, and so is the unlucky south node of the moon. And Mars is going to move up over the weekend. The full moon is Friday, and then Mars is going to move up over the weekend and exactly conjunct that unlucky south node of the moon that's in your sign, Libra. And so, Libra, there is the possibility that somehow, even though you're not planning on it at all, you are either going to be the victim or run into somebody who is aggressive or jealous or envious or just wants to pick a fight with you and is very quarrelsome. And it could be a woman. And, Libra, you got to try your hardest to stay out of something like that. But it is somewhat aspected to come your way. Now, this could be somebody you already know. Because Mars has been in your sign for a while, but this full moon in Aries is activating the fact that Mars is moving up to this unlucky south node of the moon in your sign. And the unlucky south node of the moon is going to be in your sign for about a little bit more than a year, maybe a year and a quarter. And so it's at 25 degrees, and Mars is at 22, and Mars is moving forward pretty quickly, and it's going to come up and just exactly conjunct that unlucky south node, and that is going to present you with the possibility of what we might call bad luck. And it's coming from somebody that doesn't want you or a partner that you have to succeed. They want to undermine a new partnership. And your sign rules partnership, so you could be looking for a new partner, or somebody could be attracted to you, and you could want to make a new beginning with them, but somebody is going to want to stop you. And they're doing it out of the things that Mars rules: jealousy, envy, greed. I mean, who cares what their motive is? None of their motives are any good. And so you really have to put up your defenses right now, Libra, and, plan a quiet weekend. You won't be sorry. Try to do something inside of the house while you're a little bit protected. Or just do some hard job around home and do it all weekend. And hopefully you won't run into that person, or screen your calls, so that if somebody sounds like they're angry, even on the telephone, this is not the time to talk to them, Libra. Because they're out for war. And that isn't the way you operate at all. So you have to watch out for danger that can be around you. Not only during the full moon on Friday, but throughout the whole weekend, as confusion reigns supreme. So you could be a little bit confused by somebody who deceptively is being, sort of sugar sweet and nice on top, but they have ulterior motives underneath that you can't trust and which may harm you. And so, you know, Libras like to be out with the crowd. They like to be doing things. But I'd have a quiet weekend if I were you, Libra. You might be saving yourself a lot of grief if you just did something real quiet around the house that needs doing. I mean, you could use that Martian energy to work on something pretty hard. That's fine. It would be a problem and you'd solve the problem. That would be great. But I wouldn't be too anxious to interact with people. And when you go out in public, you would be somewhat aspected for the possibility of being victimized by angry or aggressive people coming at you, or a sudden accident. So this is a real good time for you to lay low, Libra. And, you know, just be careful. And I would stick a little bit more to myself. And do something that you need to do in order to prepare for a better future. But do it. Do it so that you're not coming into contact with too many other people. Okay, what does it mean to Scorpio? Scorpio. This is a time, Scorpio, with your rulers squaring each other, and that's because Mars is in Libra right now, and Pluto is in Capricorn, and those are cardinal signs, and they are being squared and opposed by the full moon in Aries, and Mars is going to be conjuncting the unlucky south node of the moon in Libra. And so there could be somebody in your life, Scorpio, that does not want to see you succeed. And they could be, they could have petty or vindictive or angry or jealous motives for wanting to see you fail right now, particularly in a new partnership. And so, Scorpio, your sign rules secrecy. I'd be real quiet about what you're planning or what you want to do, particularly if it involves making a dream come true. You should be trying to do that because Neptune and Saturn are both trining your sun, backing you up. But if that involves a new partnership of some sort, or something that you know will make you very happy in your future, you need to be real quiet about it. I mean, you can contact another person that is involved in that, but no one else. And the quieter you are, the safer you'll be, Scorpio. And so this is a time when your best opportunity would come from working on a precious dream, because those planets, Neptune and Saturn, are really fortifying your sun sign, and they're going to keep it up. In other words, you have a time now when you can make that dream come true. Once those two planets leave, particularly when Saturn leaves, which is a planet of stability, which it will do in 2 years, you could miss your opportunity to make the dream come true. But that's because Saturn is trining your sun now, which is giving you, there's somebody around in your life, Scorpio, that's that can give you a lot of backup right now. And they might be involved with a precious dream you've had for a long time, but it involves your future, not your past. And it's somebody who's been very quietly supportive of you for a very long time. And that's the right direction to go in. But your rulers are taking a hit this weekend in more ways than one, and so confusion will reign supreme, and that simply means that the quieter you are, and the more that you work on something behind the scenes that is just right for you, the happier you will be. So this is not the time to make yourself a target in the public eye. I wouldn't do that, Scorpio. You need to withdraw and be quiet now. And that's because your rulers are in a threatening situation. And so that would tend to put you in a threatening situation if you were not careful. And this is a time, because there's so much confusion around, when we have to take 2 steps forward and 2 steps back. This is a time when you should be very patient, but your sign rules patience. And so a Scorpio almost never runs out of patience. They have an almost inexhaustible supply of it. And so Stay patient, Scorpio, and then do not lose your self-control in any way. Maintain your self-control. But the best way to maintain it is to sort of make sure that everyone else is at a distance except for the precious dream that you can be working on. There's safety in that, but not in too many other things that you might want to be involved in now. So if I were you, particularly in the next week when confusion reigns supreme, I would keep a very low profile, Scorpio. And also, if you decide to do that, you could make great strides toward that dream right now, and almost nobody would see you doing it. Because the rest of the world is up in arms. But I don't think that your precious dream involves that. I think it involves your happiness. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, this is the time, Sagittarius, when you can still take advantage of the fact that Venus is in Leo trining your sun. That's great. It's heading out of Leo, though. It's at 23 degrees, and so it's going to be leaving pretty soon. But while it is still trining your sun, Sagittarius, you really need to stick around people who like you and do things that you like, too. Or you could realize that you are popular with some people that just want to have fun. And so that would be nice. And if you were going to a sporting event or a concert or taking a short trip, that would work out well for you, Sagittarius. But on the other hand, there are 3 planets in the other mutable signs, Mercury in Virgo, which is squaring your sun, and Neptune and Saturn in Pisces, which are also squaring your sun, which means that you can still be susceptible in a rather confusing way in the next week to harm that can come to you by people with irreconcilable differences who may not be arguing quite as vehemently as they had before. There's fewer planets in these 2 mutable signs than there used to be. But still, these are not your type, Sagittarius, these people. And so if you see anybody that has, wants to fight with somebody else, they might not even want to fight with you, Sagittarius, but they've got a chip on their shoulder, or they're angry, or they're going to be quarrelsome. Those are not your type, Sagittarius, and you've got to stay away from those people, because in their vehemence and in their dedication to wanting to cause harm to somebody else, if you got in the middle of that, they'd harm you instead. And you wouldn't be able to escape it. Pisces rules escape. That is squaring your sun sign. You wouldn't be able to escape. And so, you really need to keep a low profile right now, Sagittarius. And I think you could do it by just going and having a little fun with your friends. That would be okay. But don't walk down a dark alley or be in the wrong place at the wrong time. You would regret it. So just watch your safety first, Sagittarius, and good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is a time, Capricorn, when there can be some very good problem solving going on, and you could get the answers to something. And oddly enough, it's because the answers were sort of out there, but maybe you weren't able to apply them the way that you can do that now, Capricorn. And that is because Mercury was retrograde for a long time in Virgo, but now it's direct, and it rules Virgo, and so that Mercury is doing a lot of clear thinking, and it trines your sun, Capricorn. That's why I think you may have been looking at different options or different ways of doing something, or the different prices or the costs of something, and now I think you can get some clear answers, or even the solution to a problem that's been perplexing you for rather a long time. And something can clear up now in your life, Capricorn, because you can see a pathway forward. And it doesn't mean you're at that destination, or it doesn't mean you've got what you want yet, but it looks like you would have the money to afford it, whatever you want, and that's because Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus are also trining Pluto in your sign, and they're trining that Mercury in Virgo as well. Now, Virgo rules our health, so there is the possibility that a former health problem clears up now, or you have the answer for how to approach it, or how to deal with it, or how to solve it or cure it, and something can work out sort of well for you, either in your physical health, your mental health, or the health of your bank book. So I think you're going to get the answer to something, and it's an answer you've been looking for a while, Capricorn. But I think you're finally something's going to clear up. That doesn't mean that you won't be susceptible to confusion reigning supreme in the next week, because you will be. And that is because the full moon in Aries squares Pluto in your sign, and the Sun, Mars, and that unlucky south node of the moon in Libra are also squaring Pluto in your sign. If you don't have money problems, somebody else does, and whatever they do could affect you in some way. So you need to be real careful with money, and I wouldn't be a big spender right now, Capricorn. Even if you have the money to spend on something, I sort of wait something out right now. This opposition of the lights under the full moon in Aries, because the Sun in Libra is opposing them, on Friday and over the weekend, they square your sun sign. This may not be exactly the right time to go forward, because there can be other confusing situations that crop up that you hadn't planned on, and they sort of just show up. But that's why we all can take 2 steps forward, but we're going to have to take 2 steps back as well. But we'll love through it, and I'm sure that you're going to make it anyway, Capricorn. But just don't, I think even though you're going to get a clear answer to something, I don't think you're going to be able to take a straight shot at it yet. But it's going to be wonderful to have the answer. That's going to be good. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Aquarius. Well, Aquarius, there are 3 planets in the fixed signs, and so, of course, they oppose and square your sun sign, and one of them is your ruler. And so Venus in Leo is opposing your sun sign, Aquarius, and Uranus, your own ruler, and Jupiter in Taurus are squaring your sun sign. That means that there's some money problem around somewhere. I don't think that it has much to do with the money that you have, Aquarius. It would be where you want to put that money. Okay, it would be like the final destination of where you want to buy something, or you want to invest in something. That could create some confusion right now. And it could be because in your investments, some of them may have dropped, so your income from them would have dropped too. Or it's possible but that there are just higher costs around, higher than you anticipated. And there could be a little shortfall between what something cost and what you've got, and you're going to have to figure that out. That could be rather challenging for you right now, or confusing. But at the same time, Aquarius, the full moon in Aries sextiles your sun, and the Sun and Mars in Libra trine your sun. That's very lucky for you, Aquarius, because that means you're not going to be hurt by an argumentative, quarrelsome person that could be heading somebody's way, and what they want to do is curtail a new partnership that could be very nice. And out of their jealousy or greed or envy, they want to stop something like that. And yet those planets in Libra are trining your sun. Aquarius, you could actually be very lucky at being left out of a controversial situation right now. I mean, you could see people arguing around you, or you could sort of know what's going on around you that is not working out too well for people, and you could escape that. In other words, when they start fighting, or they start slinging the arrows, or they start accusing people of things, I don't think anything's going to land on you, Aquarius. Your biggest problem is going to be sort of what to do with the money, or how to manage it. And if I were you, I would think about solutions, but perhaps not move forward with a solution right now. You could have a good plan, but I would say work on your plan a little bit more, and that's enough for now. Under these very confusing aspects that will occur for all of us in the next week, I don't think it is a good idea to leap into something, but you could plan it, or you could work on it in one way or another. a little by little. Nothing wrong with that. So I wish you the best of luck. And you're going to be sort of lucky that you are not in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's not going to happen to you, Aquarius. You know, there could be a disaster and you would be somewhere where it wasn't going to touch you at all. Lucky you. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Pisces. Well, Pisces, you know, Mercury is very strong right now in Virgo because it's now direct. It's been retrograde for weeks. And it is opposing Neptune and Saturn in your sign, which are both retrograde. And so there is the possibility that a very clear answer could come to you, Pisces, but it's almost a little beyond your reach. See, that Mercury in Virgo's over here, and the planets in your sign are right here, and they're opposing each other. And so, since Virgo rules health, there could be a health problem that you want to solve or you want to work on in one way or another. And you may think, well, if I just do this, then everything will work out fine. But I think it's going to take a little more work or a little more time than you have planned on, Pisces, in order to solve a problem or get something just the way you want it. And also, if you have not been telling the truth about something, or let's say if you've been kidding yourself about something, unfortunately, under these aspects that indicate that confusion reigns supreme, you're going to have to sort through what is true and what is just kidding yourself about something. And you're going to have to really look at the truth, Pisces. And you'll have to face something right now. And it doesn't have to be anything bad. It just has to be something that you're willing to admit. And it's something that Pisces are dreamers, real dreamy. They could have dreamed themselves into something that was wonderful. But in reality, does it really work, Pisces? And does it really work for you? This is a time when you have to just take a look at the way things are, not the way you wish they were. And you can be successful at that. You have very good planets in your sign. And they are allowing you to go back and rethink about some things and review things. But in that review, you may be seeing more things that were wrong than what was right. You may be able to see the actual truth about something that had gone on for a long time before. And you know, with Saturn in your sign, and because Saturn rules depression, there is the possibility that you can be reviewing things that have happened in your life that have made you depressed or sad. And it's a little bit like bringing up pain and sort of putting it out there to look at it. And that might be all right for you, Pisces, because once you look at it, it gets sort of light. You can dispense with it. Okay? Why? Because you know it happened yesterday. And you are in today. And you are going straight for tomorrow. You're not going back to what hurt. Okay? That's over. And maybe this is a time, you see, when you can be looking at things that hurt and let them go. Because you don't have to deal with that anymore. It's in the past. And you can go forward into something new. Not exactly a new dream, but a new reality for you. And it may involve a dream that you've had for a long time, but it can be that you are now ready to turn it into reality. And you may be able to do that. We just have to put yesterday away. Because people can't go back to the past. However, when we're hurt, we bury that. We bury that pain for a long time. And you know the only way to get rid of that pain is to bring it up, take a look at it, and say goodbye. And realize tomorrow isn't going to have that pain in it. So you will be healed. But you have to heal yourself by letting the pain go. And you can do that. Yours is a healing sign, Pisces. Just rise above that and go forward into tomorrow with a dream you've had for a very long time. You can make it come true. If anybody can make it come true, a Pisces could. So good luck. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. You can subscribe to this show on my Karen Campbell YouTube channel, and I'd be happy to send it to you every Wednesday night at 8 p.m., and I hope you tell your friends about that too. And if you'd like to read a little bit more about the theme for each week's show, you can read a blog on my website, STARBORNinstitute.org. And until then, I'll see you next week. Bye.